Oh, hi. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How's everybody doing today? I am doing great. And this is Bobo. Say hello to Bobo. Say hi, Bo. Say hi to the people. Say hi, people. Hi, Internet people. Bobo is a scary, maybe a psychopath. He loves the sound of dying animals. And you can see him play with his latest toy that sounds like a dying animal on the Discord.
Starting with a bork break.
Yeah. Who's barking? What are they barking at? What are they barking at, Bo? Let's go get it. If you go on over to the Discord right now, you can see the Bobo the Baby Bark Boy channel. And in it, you can see photos of him and a video where he's trying to murder a toy because the toy sounds like a dying animal. And because he's an adorable little murderer, he wants to murder him. That's just how he does. So he's being pretty chill today.
Hi, Bobo. Hi, Waldo.
So yeah, that's
Master 2002 Shark Wave.
You can go there and you can leave photos of your own pets and stuff like that. And Valor did that just the other day. We saw Valor's dog in there, and it's very cute. Hi, how's it going? What's happening? It's Saturday. I'm going to do a regular politics stream today because there's so much cool, fun politics to talk about. And that's why you're here. Unless you're here for the Bobo, which I don't blame you, but that's the hook, the bait that I trick people into being here, is trick them in here with the cute, adorable dogs and then force them into left-leaning mind washing. So he's asleep he's just going to sleep on the arm of the couch. That's very cool, cute. I have to take a picture of it and then I'll put it up in the thing. Okay. Don't judge me for my dirty house. Hi, how's it going? How you doing? I'm great. It's nice and cloudy out today. It is a calm, cloudy, overcast kind of a day, and it's just my favorite kind of day. I love those kinds of days. I hate the sun. It is a grotesque monster that will give you cancer. You should avoid it. I know that it's valuable and important, but so's water. But too much of that and you'll die. So you gotta take these things in stride. Okay, Bobo pick, live Bobo pick, uploaded. Let's talk about the news. Let's start with something fun, interesting, fun, silly, funny, good things. Let's do a good thing. How about that? Click the buttons. Here's a good thing. Here's a fun thing. You may have seen it. It's a very nice, silly, fun post about how the Democrats suck.
People are always asking me, how is it that Cory Booker appears like such a fighter without actually fighting for anything? That's where I come in.
Kobo, my dude, did you see the new polling? I know. People think you're really doing something.
I knew that Cory was a generational talent back in 2017 when he made history by testifying against Jeff Sessions during his confirmation hearing for Attorney General. And then 2 days later, he voted against importing cheap prescription drugs from Canada. It was probably to appease his pharma donors. I had never seen anyone virtue signal so gracefully, so effortlessly. I was like, I have to work with this guy. You probably saw Cory's most recent Senate speech where he just laid into Trump and the Democrats.
It's time for Democrats to have a backbone. It's time for us to fight. It's time for us to draw lines.
Seeing that, you probably never guessed that Cory actually voted to confirm a handful of Trump's cabinet nominees like Scott Bessent and Marco Rubio, and he was the only Democrat to vote to confirm Charles Kushner as ambassador to France. No one does it like Cory. Oh, I mean the 25-hour floor speech, that was huge for us. Not only did he break the record previously held by Strom Thurmond, not only did he speak out against Trump's authoritarian agenda, not only did he show Democratic voters that he is ready to fight, actually, that is only what he did.
That's all he did.
That's the point. Just from that floor speech, we raised $10 million in donations, and we got an entire book deal without having to lift a finger. No legislation passed, no procedural pushback, no substantive wins of any kind. That's how we do it. I'm not going to lie, the Israel stuff has been really tough on Corey. I mean, obviously it's been tougher on Palestinians and Gaza, but I think Corey is a close second. Corey and Netanyahu are buddies. Can you blame Corey for wanting to help out his buddy who was indicted by the International Criminal Court for war crimes? Turns out the answer is yes, because a lot of people
viewers
are
on
pissed.
streamblue.com.
No one cares how Andy Kim voted.
Remove the space at CYW5C2Z2.
It's always the robots, isn't it?
On the weapons package, all right? Everyone still thinks that Bob Menendez is the other senator from New Jersey. Yeah, I miss Bob too.
I mean, at one point, Corey called me up and he said, I'm seeing these images coming out of Gaza. Maybe it's time for us to rethink our unwavering support of Israel. And then I reminded him we already took the AIPAC money, so we just stopped talking about it.
Oh, the Zohran Mamdani endorsement. Look, I told Corey to just say, I have learned a long time ago, let New York politics be New York politics. And no one's going to point out that you have historically
LOL.
been very involved in New York politics. Oh, they did point it out.
When you have a fresh, exciting, up-and-coming politician like Zohran come along who is energizing the base and activating new voters, we as Democrats need to support a candidate like that. Unless they are challenging our donors or critical of Israel, in which case we need to bury them. People are already asking if Corey's gearing up for a 2028 presidential run, and I keep telling them all Corey cares about right now is saying he will defend democracy, saying he will stop Donald Trump, saying he will fight, and the great state of Israel, I mean, New Jersey. But yeah, I am already working on the campaign poster.
Words are louder than action. And this is why I criticize the Dems. This is why I complain about them. This is why I tell you that they won't save us. Because of that right there. Words are louder than action. This is the Democrat goal, to do nothing but say the right things. Say all the important stuff. Say the right things. Don't do anything. Because donors are important and they don't want you to do anything. They want everything to stand still. The donors and the people who pay. And
this is a pretty good bit XD.
it's absolutely fantastic. And it's from Zeteo, which is Mehdi Hassan's company. And he is very good and very smart and very right. You should listen to what he says. And so they put together this whole little thing, and it is very good and it is very clever, and I likes it because it's pointing out the problem that we have. The problem that we have is that Republicans will break the rules to get more power, and the Dems only care about the rules. They don't care about what the rules do or why the rules exist. They don't care why the laws are there. The laws are there to create a society that is safe for people to live in so that we can flourish. The laws are there so that we can be a society, and society is good for people, and people need rules and laws and arbitration to survive. But the Dems only want the rules because the rules are the rules. They don't know why we're doing it. They don't comprehend what a society is for. They don't even know why we're doing it. They've lost sight of it in the tiny minutia in between lines of text on a legal textbook. The Dems have lost themselves. They are in a forest. Now they're surrounded by trees, and what is it? How's the thing go? They can't see the forest because of the trees. They are face to face with a tree, and they're like, "Dude, this tree is in my way. I cannot get to the forest." And they can't look at it. They can't look at the big picture and say, "Hey, why does society exist at all?"
They treat rules as absolute and act like it's never good to break them.
And the only complaint
LOL.
they have.
Great analogy XD.
Right, and the only reason that you have the rules is because they are the rules. The only reason you follow them is because it's necessary and important. So when the Republicans break the rules, when they change the rules, when they break the law, when they do the things that are outside the specific little rules they're looking at, they get all pissy and they get mad and they're like, "You're breaking the rules. Do something about it. Don't just say it. Do something about it. Create new laws. Stand in front of them. Get in the White House." I want every Democrat senator in the White House, standing there, preventing Donnie from signing the things. And if he doesn't like it, he will throw you out and violently and put you in jail. This accelerates our process. This lets the people know that you're doing a thing. This will make the people happy. because you'll be doing a thing rather than just saying the thing for 26 hours and then doing nothing and then making a bunch of money and not changing anything. Nothing changed because of the 26-hour record-breaking speech that he gave. Nothing changes. The polls don't even move. They're going to be, it's just going to be the same damn electoral map next year. Nothing will change. So the good words are good, but you need to follow it with good actions. And that's why I think this is great. We need to point that out. We need to know that the people are doing stuff. Zoran Mamdani is actually doing things. He's changing the rules. He's making public transit free. He's making bus lanes work better. He's rearranging how the traffic works so that the buses can move faster and get to people to where they need to be. This is a literal thing. He's trying to make the grocery stores owned by the city. It's complicated, and I don't know all the details, but that's the idea. So that the money stays in their economy. You know, you leave your house in New York, you go to a grocery store that's owned by someone in China, you give them your money, the money's gone. But if a city owns it and the person who lives in the city benefits from you buying that stuff in the city, then you can create an economy, you see. It's complicated. But we need people to do things rather than just say the things. And I realize the irony of me just saying the things right now.
Did the New York mayor election happen yet or just the primary?
That was just the primary. The full election is yet to happen. I think it's in a couple of, I think it's in September. I don't know exactly when it is.
Okay.
But it is happening soon. I can look it up, I suppose. And then I'll know. Come on, internet. Come on, computer. I've had some very big computer problems lately. When is the New York mayor election? Google says November 4th. So November the 4th.
Same.
Yeah, I tried to download the latest Path of Exile patch yesterday, and it just cooked my computer.
Bad.
It killed my hard drive. I don't know what it was about it. I don't know if there's anything going on. My hard drive just maxed out, full speed, 100%, running nonstop, overheating, and then crashed. And it made me very sad.
Hope that's not fatal.
It wasn't so far. As soon as I stopped whatever process it was running and then got it cooled off and got to restart, I made it stop doing that. I reinstalled the thing, and it's just that one game. It was weird. It was clearing caches or something like that, and it just wasn't having it. And that's why my start screen is a bit goofed up. You don't see saluting Elon because I lost it. Because I had to clear a whole bunch of shit out. So I started clearing shit out of the hard drive because it was just too full. So I started clearing stuff out. And then I like that.
Dang.
Do that again. Make the robot do that again. I like that. That's very nice. I like that.
Wow. Amazing.
But yeah, you're the hard drive was overworking, it was overspinning, it was just maxed out, pinged out, full speed.
I have conflicting feelings.
Of the or my shoddy IT work. You should have conflicted feelings over both. Because,
robot.
Oh, okay, of the robot. Okay, yeah, my shoddy IT skills are shoddy. I recognize. But yeah, after it cooled off, after I got all the things removed and cleared out some space, it started working a little bit better. So it should be okay now. I do need a new hard drive, but we'll worry about that later. We'll worry about that when it's an emergency. We will not prepare ahead of time. We will not pre-stage. We will not get everything ready to go. We are not going to do that. That would require forward thought, and I don't have any of that. So we'll limp along until we die. And then we'll panic, and then
just like politicians.
Exactly. See, I've been watching the politics too long.
2002 Shark Cool.
I've been a part of the politics for too long. No forward thought. No. We can't have any of that. We are just going to panic when things go wrong and react. See, we're just going to react. Anyway, I'm so off topic. What the hell am I supposed to be doing? I'm doing a politics stream. That's what I'm doing. Here's a good one. I liked this. This is very nice. This is in Alabama.
The first question that we have is from Catherine Quinley from Fairhope. They want to know who pays the tariff. Is it consumers or through the exporting country?
Who pays the tariffs is the question they have for their representative.
So right now, what we just saw in a report is that we haven't seen inflation at all. If y'all saw a report, 0.2% on goods.
That wasn't the question. They said, who pays the tariffs? He said, we don't have any inflation. Motherfucker, that's a completely different question. Who pays the tariffs? His answer was, we don't have any inflation. Who pays the tariffs? That's the important part. You pay the tariffs. I pay the tariffs. All the people sitting in this crowd pay the tariffs, and they're starting to know it. The people are starting to notice because the de minimis exemption went away. It's very complicated. And it's like econ stuff, so it's made up and not real. But the de minimis exemption like exempts things that are like under some amount, $200, something like that. So if you're importing anything that is small and tchotchke-esque, like you get from Wish or Amazon or Walmart.com or something like that, you don't have to pay a tariff because it's so small and unimportant. Now there's a flat tariff on all of the things, and the people are going to notice very soon when they start buying tiny little pieces of shit from Temu, from Wish, and from Shein. I think when you buy those tiny little tchotchkes, those little pieces of shit, they're going to cost more, and the people are going to be upset, and then they're going to get mad, and they're going to blame whoever they can. And the Democrats really ought to talk about this, but they're dumb and bad, and they don't know how to talk to human beings. It's very strange. And the Republicans are trying to just blame it on Joe Biden because they're dumb, and they might believe it. But these people aren't buying it because they are the ones paying the tariffs. On that note, here's what to know about the court's ruling striking down Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs became illegal yesterday. A federal appeals court said the president overstepped his authority when he imposed sweeping import duties. Donald Trump suffered the biggest defeat yet of his tariff policies on Friday, as a federal appeals court ruled he had overstepped his presidential powers when he enacted punitive financial measures against almost every country in the world. In a 7-4 ruling in Washington, D.C., court said that while U.S. law bestows significant authority on the president to undertake a number of actions in response to a declared national emergency, none of those actions allows for the imposition of tariffs or taxes. Tariffs are taxes. Don't let anybody lie to you. Don't let the right one lie to you.
Pika.
There's the Pika face that I told you about. Yeah, exactly. Shocked. But this was always illegal. Anybody who knew anything about the law knew that he couldn't do this, which is why they had to declare the emergency. And the emergency was just whatever the hell they felt like at any given moment. Sometimes the emergency is a trade imbalance, which is not a real thing. The trade deficit, not a real thing. That's stupid. Only idiots think that that's a thing. And Donnie's an idiot, so he thought it was a thing. The emergency changed all the time, depending on what they wanted it. Sometimes the emergency was simply fentanyl. Just fentanyl, just in general, it exists. So because it exists, it's an emergency, and we need to deal with that emergency. We need to have people like, I don't know, tariffed just because fentanyl exists. Because sometimes somebody with a Canadian passport did a fentanyl or brought a fentanyl. That means the entire country has to be tariffed. That doesn't make any sense. That's stupid. Or based on immigration from Mexico, people are coming from Mexico. That means we have to tariff all of Mexico. China said a thing that we don't like. We're going to tariff them. But that's crazy. Yes, it is crazy. We shouldn't do that. That's silly. But Donnie's crazy. So in being crazy, he does crazy things. And the emergency is whatever he feels at the moment, even if he has to make it up. It means the ultimate ruling on the legality of Trump's tariffs, which were famously based on spurious economic science that rocked the global economy when he announced them in April, will probably be made by the U.S. Supreme Court. Great. Thanks. So the courts have said, no, this is illegal. And now it's going to go up to the Supreme Court, who, guess what? Most of them are there because Donnie put them there. He put 3 of them there, and they're all fucking liars. That's all there is to it. They're originalists. And when a Republican tells you originalist judges, they mean judges who do whatever the damn hell the Republicans want them to do. That's what originalism means. I honestly don't trust the court. Things include important people. Yeah, the court is filled with originalists, and they just lie about what originally it meant. They bend the definitions, they bend the time frames to whenever they win the argument. And then they'll lie to the people, and the people will buy it because they want it to be true. Republicans want their ideology to be correct, even if they have to lie to get it that way. Because that's what Donnie does. He lies all the time to make his ideology and his team win. That is what matters. And that is what the Supreme Court will do. They will lie to you. They will bend the truth. They will bend the definitions. They will bend the law. They will bend time itself to suggest that the conservative position is the correct one. And then he will be allowed to do the thing that the other courts have definitionally said is unconstitutional. Which tariffs did the courts knock down? The decision centers on the tariffs that Trump introduced on April 2nd on what he called Liberation Day. The tariffs had a 10% baseline on virtually all the U.S. trading partners and so-called reciprocal tariffs on countries he argued have unfairly treated the U.S. Lesotho? A country of 2.3 million people. I'd never even heard of Lesotho. I don't know where that's at. I couldn't find it on a map. A country of 2.3 million people in southern Africa was hit with a 50% tariff, while Trump also announced a 10% tariff on a group of uninhabited islands populated by penguins. We all remember, very funny, very silly, the penguin tariffs. The ruling voided all those tariffs, the judges finding the president's measures are unbounded in scope and amount and duration because he doesn't do the things properly. He just makes stuff up and says, I can do it if I want to. You can literally invade a country, and international court takes ages and mostly dismisses. Imagine local things. Yeah, exactly. The international court is very slow, and I understand why it's slow. It's very complicated, and it should move slow. Courts should move slowly and carefully. I'm okay with that. But Johnny doesn't do that. He moves fast and breaks things, like the law and tariffs. They said that the tariff asserts an expansive authority that is beyond the express limitations because it's a tax. All tariffs are taxes, and Congress passes taxes, not the President of the United States. So by taxing all of these companies and these people, because that's what the tariffs are, you pay the tax. The companies in America pay the tax. Pay the tariff. You pay the tariff. The company pays the tariff. China doesn't pay the tariff. That's silly. How much legitimacy is missing at a scale of 10? For this, I would say this is a 0 of 10. You know, the president doesn't get to do that. But the laws are enforced by people, and those people can be conservative, so they can lie to you. They can call it the executive unitary theory. The unitary executive theory, which means the president is a king who cannot be ever corrected and can never be wrong. It's their theory, and they live with it. They live within it, and they tell you that it's true, and then they hire judges who tell you it's also true. So there is only one law in America anymore, and that is make Donnie happy. If Donnie likes it, if Donald Trump likes it, it's good and it's legal. If he doesn't like it, it's illegal, unconstitutional, and should be banned. Doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it used to be. It doesn't matter what the law says. It doesn't matter what's written within the text. Make Donnie happy. That is the only law that exists anymore, because we are not a functioning democracy any longer. We are an authoritarian pseudo-democracy. And if 2026 goes badly, we will be a authoritarian dictatorship, because they will break the rules. They will break the law. They will break all the voting apparatus. They will lie to you and cancel the elections. They will shut down the things they don't like, and we will no longer be a democracy. At the moment, we are technically a democracy because the people voted for him and he is in charge, but he's going to cancel the next election. Absolutely. That's happening. That is coming. That is going to be a thing that we're going to watch happen, but that's a year away. What's happening right now is the tariffs are illegal. Tariffs typically need to be approved by Congress. Approved by Congress. These were not approved by Congress, but Trump claims he has the right to impose the tariffs on trading partners under the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, which in some circumstances grant the president authority to regulate and prohibit international transactions during national emergency. The court ruled it seems unlikely that Congress intended in enacting IEEPA to depart from its past practice of and grant the president unlimited authority to impose tariffs. And that's the other issue with it, is because the ramshackle up and down, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off, they're 10% here, they're 50% here, tomorrow they'll be 100%, tomorrow they'll be 1,000%. Now I've canceled it because you said a nice tweet about me. It gives him ultimate power. It's just blatant authoritarianism. He's not following any sort of law. He's not putting together any sort of plan. He's not creating a long-term goal to address the emergency. He's just feeling it out. He's winging it. He's doing play-by-play. He is reacting to whatever is in front of him at the moment. And that is not the way you want your government to act. You want them to be slow, deliberate, and intelligent. But he's not. He's moving fast. He's just making stuff up as he goes, and it doesn't matter if it's true or correct or based on facts or reality. He'll just make some stuff up. So what the hell else is there? Are the tariffs gone now? No. The court largely upheld the May decision by a federal trade court in New York, which ruled Trump's tariffs were illegal, but Friday's ruling tossed out a part of the ruling which would strike down the tariffs immediately. The court said the ruling would not take effect until October 14th. That allows the Trump administration time to appeal to the majority conservative U.S. Supreme Court, which will have the ultimate say in whether Trump has the legal right as president to upend trade policy. But for him to be able to cancel election, there's conditions that should be met. No, like a war. They'll just do it. I'm telling you, man, it will be illegal, the things he does. And this is just me predicting things. Predicting things is very hard, but I'm predicting the future, and I could be incorrect. I could be wrong. But what they'll do is they'll send ICE agents to stand outside polling places in Democrat areas, and they will hassle the people outside there standing in line who look Hispanic. They will just ask them for their papers, demand to see their identification. This will scare some of them off because they'll arrest some innocent people. And if you're an innocent person, you don't want to spend the weekend in jail. Poor people will lose their job if they spend a week in jail. They won't. If you are living in a paycheck to paycheck life, and you're making minimum wage, if you miss a day of work, you might lose your job. And if you go to vote and they harass you and they put you in jail for even 24 hours, you might lose your job. Then everything spirals out of control. You've lost your job. You can't make your bills. You have to get a new job. You can't make rent. You can't do any of the things that you need to do. You can't feed your kids. Is that worth it? Maybe not. Maybe they don't show up to vote. Criminal record for nothing. Yeah. Then you get a criminal record for doing literally nothing. And then your job wants to fire. Yeah. If you say to your boss, hey, I was in jail for the past 24 hours, they might fire you anyway, even if you didn't miss a shift. Stream Jedi is over here making noise. Sorry. And if they are out there slowing people down, they will also do the thing that they did during 2020, which is sue everybody, make up a bunch of shit online, go on Fox News and lie to you about what happened. Go on the My Pillow guy will be back with a vengeance, telling you that there's a secret vote dump and a secret mail-in ballot. And then Donald Trump already lies to you every single day about how unsecure mail-in ballots are. It's a lie. But he's going to do that again. He is going to tell you that mail-in voting is not allowed and illegal, and he passed an executive order saying that you can't do it anymore. States are the ones who set those rules and those laws of voting. Some state, probably a liberal one, like the one I live in, will not accept the executive order from him and then send me a mail-in ballot. And then I will fill in that mail-in ballot and I will mail it in just like I did last year and the year before that. Well, not the year before, 2 years before that. And they will call that an illegal vote. And then the state will sue him, and then he will just cancel whatever they did. Like if a blue person wins, he will say that that was illegitimate. He will lie to you, and he will put actual Gestapo, actual violent forces in place to stop the person from taking office. And the Dems are wieners, and they might allow it because they're wieners. And they'll go on TV and they'll complain and they'll say the right things, but they won't do any of the action. And then and then he will pass more laws. He will do more executive orders saying that this isn't allowed. And he'll pass an executive order. I'm telling you, man, if a blue person wins over a red, he will pass an executive order saying that the red person won. He'll just write it out and he'll put it in the thing and he'll sign it and say this, by order of Donald Trump, this election was rigged and didn't count. And this person on the red team won. And then the MAGA people, the MAGA faithful, the people who are in the country will see that and recognize it as correct and true and right. And it will go badly.
Executively ordering reality to change.
Absolutely. He's already done it a few times. Like with the tariffs. He puts those into effect through executive order, and they're literally illegal. Back on tariffs, though. Yeah, good. I got distracted. That happens sometimes. What does this mean for Trump's trade agenda? The government has argued that if Trump's tariffs are struck down, it might have to refund some of the import taxes that it has collected, which would deliver a financial blow to the U.S. Treasury. Revenue from tariffs totaled $159 billion by July, more than double what it was at the same point last year.
LOLXD.
The department warned in a legal filing this month that revoking the tariffs could mean financial ruin for the United States. So
that'd be so hysterical.
It does make money. Taxes do make money for the government. Of course they do. It's money. If you tax the people and the people pay the tax, the government has money. There's $159 billion by July, more than double what it was at the same point last year. So half of this would have to be repaid. So that's what? 70, that's 50 and 25. So it's 75 billion would have to be given back. That's a loss of 75 billion from the government. Taxes work.
80.
Taxes make money. How dare you correct my math? You're right. I'm not good at the economics. It's almost, yeah, it's closer to 80 than it is 75. But the point is that they would have to give that money back, and that would be a loss. Donnie would lose. He would be sad. He would say mean things about the people who are now robbing the government, even though he is robbing the government. This money also goes into his sovereign wealth fund, which is a giant scam. If you've ever heard about the sovereign wealth fund, oops, sorry, wrong button. The sovereign wealth fund is where Donnie wants all this money to go. He wants all of this stuff to go into the sovereign wealth fund because that's money that Congress doesn't get to touch. Congress is in charge of the spending and the money and where the money goes and who gets the money and who doesn't. Donnie's not in charge of that. Never has been. Conservatives don't know this. Republicans don't know that. They think the president is the king because they have been fed bullshit and lies from right-wing media telling them that Joe Biden was king and Obama was the king and they ran the things and they did all these illegal things. They didn't. It was a lie. they followed the rules, mostly because they're Democrats. Conservatives just didn't like what the rules allowed them to do and the choices they made within those rules. So they lied and called them kings and called them dictators and said they destroyed America. The whole country was destroyed from 2020 to 2024. We all remember the entire country being just flatly destroyed, leveled, and ruined, and it only showed back up 8 months ago. But they lie to the people. The people think that it's worse than it really is, and then the Donnie's doing the right things and doing the good things. But it's blatantly illegal. What has Trump done? He spent Friday evening reposting dozens of social media posts in which were critical of the court's decision in a post on his own social media site that he owns. That's the other thing. He owns a social media site to tell you lies, and it's called Truth. It couldn't get any more Orwellian than that. Trump claimed that he tends to do when judges rule against him, that the decision was made by a highly partisan appeals court. So everybody who disagrees with him is a liar and a liberal and a communist, and everyone who agrees with him is right, correct, proper, and a good Christian. It doesn't matter that the law is literally against him. Doesn't matter that the things that are written down are the opposite of reality, of opposite of what he's doing. He doesn't care. And the people who follow him don't read laws. That's nerd shit, man. If you're a MAGA fan, you don't know what the law is. You don't know what's written in a law book. It's just written by nerds anyway. That's nerd shit. And they don't have time for nerd shit. Conservatism is not nerd shit, okay? It's action. It is directly in your face, fixing the problems, reacting to the things that are going wrong, and making the world better. Except it's not. The rules are there, and you don't know what the rules are. They don't know what why tariffs exist. Tariffs are a tool, an economic tool, sure, but much like a hammer, they have a purpose, a use, a proper operating procedure. Use one side of the hammer for driving nails. Use the other side of the hammer for removing them. But you can technically hit someone with a hammer and take their wallet. You could just steal their wallet. That is what Donnie's doing with the tariffs. He's hitting people, countries and businesses, making demands of them, and then if they don't comply, he'll hit them again, harder. This is an improper use of tariffs. He is using the tool incorrectly. He's implementing it incorrectly because the Congress is the one who's supposed to implement these things, as they are a tax. Congress levies the taxes, not the president. Tariffs are a tax. Don't let anyone lie to you. Don't let them tell you otherwise. And in using the tool incorrectly, the judges tell him, hey, you're implementing it incorrectly. You're using it incorrectly. It's not doing the thing you're saying it's doing. And he lies to you about what it is. He lies to you and tells you that China pays the tariffs. Giant, monstrous, demonstrable, obvious lie. But his fans like lies. Reality tastes like shit. Bullshit is delicious. China paying tariffs to America is bullshit. Delicious, delicious bullshit. It's tasty. The Americans have been convinced over the past decade that China is stealing from us. Donnie tells you that every day. China's stealing all our money. Trade deficits. We give them money. We also get the stuff that they make. We pay. We're buying shit from them. Giving them money, we get their shit. That's how the system works. And he's upset. He wants to buy the shit from them, then take the money back. Because he's a criminal. He doesn't understand how economies actually work. He wants to give them money, get the stuff, then take the money back. So that we'll have the money and the stuff. He doesn't know why anybody would be against that. Why would they even argue with that fact? Why would China be against us taking their stuff, then taking the money we paid for the stuff? Why would China be upset with that? We can do that because we're bigger and stronger, and we're right to do so. And he'll invent bullshit reasons on why we could and should do that. So yeah, tariffs are illegal, and it's going to go to the Supreme Court. So that's where we are now. It's going to go up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will bend the rules, bend the lie, bend reality to make Johnny correct. Make everything the president says true, right, factual, even though it's not true and it is incorrect and it is not factual. They'll do it anyway because that's their job. That's why they were elected. That's why they were hired. That's why they were put in this very important position of power, because they were willing to lie to the public, willing to lie to the people, willing to bend the rules toward republicanism. That's why they're there. So yeah, if you're watching, if you're paying attention, hop in the chat, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Go on over to the Discord, and you can see
Discord
and talk to other people. There are people debating in Discord all the time. Valor is in there all the time, sharpening his knives and sharpening his teeth, debating lunatics. So if you're a lunatic, you can go there and you can debate people and lose. Or
I am feeling mega tired.
That's okay. You need to take a break sometimes. So yeah, there's also Bobo pictures over there and dog pictures and entire chat channels where you can talk about stuff and do things. Or going over to the YouTube page. Well, YouTube. Bam.
YouTube.
Going over to the YouTube, press the break the thumbs up button, smash the subscribe button, crack the bell, and spread some hatred in the comments, because the YouTube algorithm is powered by hatred. My latest video is talking about how conservatives hate everything, and they are a white nationalist death cult, and that gets the views. It really does. And then it gets the people to comment, and then it gets the conservatives to comment. And I wish that we could I wish the algorithm were based on good ideas or properly expressing things, but it's powered by hatred, and I'll use that sometimes to get people to pay attention. Not all the time, but if you want some of that, you can go to the YouTube page. You can watch the videos. I take all of these streams, I crunch them down, and I edit them down into tiny little bite-sized bits. I say bite-sized. I talk for 2 hours, and then I turn it into a 30-minute video. You're welcome. If 2 hours of Waldo's jibber-jabbering is too much, watch it on YouTube. It's the same ideas, but shorter. And so what the hell else is going on? Okay.
Never enough gibber 3.
Never enough gibber. More jibber-jabber. More jibber-jabber. I get tired. I can only jibber-jabber for a couple hours before I start to fall off and lose my energy. I know some of the political streamers go for 5-6 hours or some shit like that, but I can't do it. It's too long. Maybe I'll get my endurance up. Let's see, what the hell? Okay. Let's talk about this. Social Security Administration Chief Data Officer and whistleblower Charles Borges has resigned after bombshell report that Social Security Administration put highly sensitive data at risk. He sent out an email to colleagues moments ago. Here's the text of the email he shared with me. Basically, what he's saying, I'm not going to read the whole thing, it is very long and boring, is that Doge stole Americans' identities and shit. Social Security Chief Data Officer reported that Doge staff took actions that constitute violations of laws, rules, and regulations, abuse of authority, gross mismanagement, and creation of a substantial and specific threat to public health and safety.
Doge.
The Doge wasn't about government efficiency. It was about stealing your data. That's what the Doge was there to do. It wasn't there to make the government efficient. It wasn't there to help you. It wasn't there to make the government better. It was there to take from you. This is the conservative playbook for any companies. Take from you. Take from the people. Take from the corporations that you can through taxes. Take through the taxes, everything that you can get for yourself. Take from the people all the tax money and then keep it. It's a bunch of dog noise going on over there. I apologize. But that is what conservatism is now. It used to be about certain things, but now it's just about taking. Donnie is a stealer. He's a thief. He takes from you. He takes from the other countries. He takes from people. And if you kiss his ass, if you give him something, he will stop taking from you, maybe. Very itchy today. Sorry. He's just stealing. That's what Doge was doing. They knew this. Elon isn't providing things. He's just stealing. He stole the ideas from a lot of other people. He was standing in the room when someone invented PayPal, and he glommed onto them, and now he steals credit for it. He was standing in the room with a bunch of intelligent people, came up with a plan for an electric car, and he steals it and tells you that it's his idea. He's standing in a room when a bunch of rocket scientists come up with the idea for rockets, and he takes credit for it. Most of his money comes from manipulation of the stock market, which is just stealing. The stock market is a casino where some people win and take the money from the losers. That is what happens on the stock market. And that's where his money comes from. He is a thief. We live in the thief economy, the grift economy, the take from everybody else economy. Have you noticed your phone blowing up over the past few months with scams? Have you noticed an increase in scams, in scammy emails and scamming texts and scamming phone calls? Because that is the American economy now. There are only 3 careers left in America: OnlyFans model, live streamer, and crypto shill. Those are the only 3 jobs left. You have to be on one of them. Those are the only 3 real careers left. You might have a job working at the dollar store, and they pay you $7 an hour or something stupid, but that's not a career. You may work at Amazon, but that's not a career. No. The only 3 careers: OnlyFans model, crypto shill, and live streamer. I can't do those first 2. I can't do the OnlyFans model. I'm a horrible, disgusting mess. And I won't do the crypto shill because it's a scam. But what I can do is this. I can tell you what I'm thinking. I can tell you what I'm feeling, and we can all feel it together. So what was I talking about? I'm all over the rails. I'm off the rails today, guys. I appreciate that. I hope you like it. I hope you're having a good time. The Social Security chief data officer is basically just telling us that
you could do of people are into everything master
No.
2002 shark cool.
I couldn't. The Doge staff took from you. They stole your data. They took from you very important information that they will use to steal from you further. They will use that data. Why does a tech company want your data? Why does a scammer want your data? So they can open fake credit cards under your name and steal from you, so that they can sign you up for fake subscriptions and steal from you, so that they can use their data to micro pinpoint advertising to steal from you, so that they can sell your phone number on the black market, so that you can get phone calls from robots trying to sell you bullshit. This is a part of the grift economy. We no longer make stuff from resources. That used to be the economy. Dig up a resource, turn it into an item, sell the item. Then the people then you pay the workers, and then the workers use their money to buy other items: food, cars, cool hats, I suppose. That was the economy. That doesn't exist anymore. No. That's not the economy. That is a fool's game. You would be an idiot today to start a company where you took resources out of the ground, turned them into a product, and then sold them to people. That would be a losing gamble. You would lose. What you need to do instead is create nothing. Hype up horseshit like crypto, like stocks, like a company that hasn't done anything yet. Sell it to a larger company and then sell the fucking stocks. Get the fuck out.
When do you think they will make script legal again?
Script is on the way. If we get company towns.
Become a needless middleman.
Become a needless middleman. That's right. Start a company. Brag about how great the company is. This is what Vivek the fake Ramaswamy did. He started a horseshit, bullshit, nonsense healthcare company that did nothing, created nothing, gave nothing to anybody, did zero. I mean, fucking zero, nothing. And then he talked about how great it was. He got a bunch of tech bros to invest in it. And then he sold that shit to a bigger company, sold the fucking stocks, and then it crashed, doing nothing. He gets to keep the money. That is the economy now. That is how the world works now. Create nothing, create hype, and then sell. That's it. Hype, sell, hype, sell, hype, sell, hype, sell. And then everything that you hyped crashes the minute you walk out the door. That is why things don't function anymore. That is why inflation is going nuts. That is why everything costs more, because the investors have to spend all their money on nothing so that they can jump in. And they know this too. The investors know this. This isn't surprising to them. They want this. They love it. They love being in on this. They want to jump in there, spend $1, have the hype turned it into $10, jump out and have the value crash. They love that shit. They get off on it. Investors want grift because they are grifters, because they profit from the grift. They want they want the instability so that they can buy the dip, ride it up, jump off, and profit. They want these things. They do not want you to have a solid society. They do not want you to have cheap groceries. They don't want you to have the latest piece of equipment built from resources. They don't want any of that. They don't care about any of that. That's all 19th century shit, you know, turning seeds into food and then the food to feed the people. That's 18th century shit. Okay. 21st century shit is Bitcoin, Dogecoin, making money off of Haktua coin. That's where the money is in the 21st century. And part of that, wrapping it back around, is that Doge needed to get into the government, steal all your information, and then sell it to the highest bidder. And that's what they did. That's what it was all about. That's why they did it. They didn't do it because they want to make the world a better place. They did it so that they could profit. What is this? This is a random thing that I saw. DOJ attorneys bolt after being forced to work on sham anti-immigrant team. So, dozens of high-rank Department of Justice attorneys who were reassigned to the DOJ's Sanctuary Cities Enforcement Working Group have all quit. The Washington Post is reporting on Saturday. According to the report, the Post's Perry Stein, at the time of the reassignment, they were told to either accept the move or resign, and as of this week, the last attorney who accepted the move has now quit. The report notes that those who accepted the move soon realized it had no function other than to sideline them with the hope that they would give up and leave the DOJ.
Day in America.
Yes, it is. Hi, Masadia. Thanks for coming in. As the Post wrote, 6 months later, all of those attorneys have left the DOJ for good, the last one packing up this week. And 5 people familiar with the working group say that they got the impression that the task force was designed to do nothing but frustrate and eventually force out lawyers. The administration felt it could replace with people more loyal to the president. The purge is happening. The purge is already here. They are purging everybody from the government who isn't on Donnie's side. If you aren't loyal to him, if you aren't doing exactly what he wants from you, he is purging you. You are fired. You are not allowed to disagree with the dear leader Trump, or else you will lose your government job. I'm looking up a YouTube video. There was a pretty good one from Rachel Maddow just the other day. I know she's a filthy lib, but we can watch her talk about something. Well, where's the... Dang it. Could have gotten this ready to go ahead of time, but I didn't because I suck. Yeah, I suck. Anywho, we're going to pretend that didn't happen. We'll Editor Waldo will edit that out. They're purging the military people. They've purged lots of high-level military people because they don't agree with Donald Trump and they won't do what he says. It's happening. The fascist purge is here. They're kicking out lots of military people. They're kicking out the lawyers who disagree with them. They're kicking out the people from the CDC, the people of the CDC who now work for RFK Jr., an actual moron, an actual crazy person, are quitting and walking out because they don't want to be involved in this horseshit. In this death cult. RFK Jr. sends CDC spiraling, leading to waves of resignations. It's really bad now, but things can always get worse. CDC Director Susan Monarez facing pressure to revoke approvals for coronavirus vaccines. She thinks that's a fucking stupid idea and it will hurt people. And RFK Jr. tells her to do it anyway because he's fucking stupid and wants to hurt people. He wants you to suffer. And that's not even an exaggeration. He wants you to suffer. People have talked about it. Dr. Dmitry Daskilasky.
Kicking out the Coast Guard's commandant and having the loyal head of the DHS living in their house.
Absolutely. The purge is happening. This doctor who resigned from the CDC says that RFK Jr. said he believes that avian flu should be allowed to burn through the chickens and then the children, your children, and others, so we can propagate a stronger species. This is eugenics. This is who's in charge of government health now. A eugenicist, a moron, an idiot who wants you and your children to die and suffer so that we can be stronger.
Jesus.
He thinks the purpose of the government is to allow humans to die and suffer so that we can become stronger. The government is supposed to protect the weak. It is supposed to protect people, not hide and force.
Our country is turning into a mockery of itself.
Yes, this guy is probably one of the worst, and he might actually get removed if the people in charge, if Donnie listens to the people, but I don't think he will. The people are very upset with this. They're just walking out. Let's find more of that. Here they are walking out. CDC scientists receive a hero's welcome after walking out. Turn that volume off because it was very loud. But that is sadly, and I love to see this, but I also worry because, yes, these are CDC scientists who are walking the fuck out of bullshit. RFK Jr. will replace them with podcasters. He really will. He'll replace them with lying grifters from Twitter, from X.com. He'll go there. He'll find a lunatic who agrees with him, and he will then hire that person to replace these intelligent scientists. The purge is happening, and I hope it's not working.
Podcasters are the real professionals.
They're the ones who know everything. Obviously, listen to me. I know everything. That's a joke. I don't know everything. We just saw me today fail at economics and math, and to find a link to a video that I watched. So know that I'm kidding and joking all the time. The people who are walking out will be replaced by podcasters, by lunatics, by idiots, by buffoons who don't know what they're doing or don't know what they're talking about. So protests are good if the people on top see it, recognize that it's actually a problem, and then change the course of action. I don't think this is going to happen. giant protests all across the country against Donald Trump, he doesn't care. He's not here to represent you. The Republicans aren't there to represent their constituents. They are there to get Donnie power, because there's only one rule anymore. Make Donnie happy. It's the only rule that exists. It's the only law that there is anymore. And Donald doesn't like the people who are standing in this little crowd here. So we won't do the things that these people are demanding. The people demand RFK Jr. be removed. And it won't happen. Because the government no longer works for the people. They don't do that anymore. They used to. We can quibble over when they stopped working for the people, but they don't work for the people any longer. They work for themselves. They work for Donald Trump to make him more powerful. And when he dies, they will fight over the power and elect a new king who will talk mad shit about how great and amazing Saint Donald Trump was. And he will try to gather up all the MAGA crazies, all the MAGA faithful, and tell them that he is the chosen one, chosen by Donnie on his deathbed to replace him, to do what is necessary to make the world conservative. And they won't listen to facts. They won't listen to reason. They won't listen to the people chanting, get rid of RFK. They won't listen to the scientists who tell you that RFK is a moron. They won't listen to this lady who tells you it's harmful to the American people to be doing what RFK Jr. is doing. They won't listen to any of that because they don't need it. They don't want it. They're not here to listen to the people. An attempted ousting of the nation's head of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, a series of resignations amid escalating pressure from the Trump administration to change vaccine policy, as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. oversees the agency and attempts to mold it in his vision of vaccine skepticism. The CDC has been plunged into bedlam as Americans' public health care hangs in the balance. Today, after the Washington Post reported that Susan Monarez had been ousted from her role as director of the CDC, HHS appears to confirm the ousting on an ex post. She no longer, let me read it in his voice. Susan Monarez is no longer director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. We thank her for her dedicated service to the American people, said Secretary Kennedy. He had full confidence in his team, who will continue to be vigilant in protecting Americans against infectious diseases at home and abroad, which is a lie. They will be cutting things. They will be canceling things that make you healthy, because RFK Jr. is a lunatic who does not know what he's talking about. Attorney Mark S. Zaid and Abby David Lowell, who are representing Monarez, confirmed to the Rolling Stone that she was notified tonight by a White House staffer in the personnel office that she was fired, blah, 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 blah. 4 top CDC leaders said they were resigning today. These are their names, blah, 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 blah. Multiple former and current CDC staffers confirmed the attempt to oust her and a series of resignations, adding that there was widespread fear among former and present personnel that the void will be filled by RFK Jr. style diehards and zealots. Lunatics, podcasters, idiots, morons, dipshits. Maha craziness is going to run the table. It really is bad now, but things can always get worse. This is the work of a death cult. They want you to suffer. They want you to die for a stronger species tomorrow. Let's see. Was there any other links I had for this one? Oh, here's another photo. Here they are. These people are protesting. They're very unhappy. Protesting doesn't work if the people on top don't listen and don't care about what is said beneath them. And they don't. They don't care what happens. They don't care what you have to say. They are here for their agenda, not yours. And that's why I keep saying that we're not a democracy at the moment. We're authoritarian, yes. Are we a democracy? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. We're going to find out next year during the midterms whether we actually are a democracy any longer. We might not be. We are authoritarian now. We may give up on the democracy bit next year. maybe if everything goes right and Donnie dies and there's a power struggle, I hope he dies. And you're allowed to hope for things. I'm not threatening him. I just hope he does. Then there will be an ugly, disgusting power struggle. Jonathan Vance, that's his name, will claim to be in charge.
This keeps reminding me of the statue of magical might that replaces the magical brotherhood one in the Ministry of Magic.
Is that a Harry Potter reference? I think it is. I recognize Ministry of Magic. You're right. That's exactly what's going to happen. The magical might is fascism. Fascism is based on might, forcing people into your ideal, and forcing them to do the things the way you want them done, forcing them to not be outside your box. Your box is the box, and the only way that everything can be done is the way that Donnie wants it done. And if you do anything differently than that, he will hurt you. He will hit you with the tools of the state until you conform. That is the state you live in now. But can we vote for something new? Can we vote for someone else to be in charge? Next year, maybe. Maybe we can't. Maybe it's too late. Maybe ICE shows up at the polling places and drags people off, starts blackpacking people. Maybe they just shut down entire polling places. Maybe the state of Texas just cancels a whole bunch of those votes and says those are illegal votes. You can't stop them. What are you going to do? Protest? Fucking cares. Protest all you want. Doesn't do anything. Nobody in charge listens to the protest. And they just got put back in charge for the next few years because of the vote that they cheated on. Not a lot you can do. Except violence. But we don't like violence. I don't want to do violence. I don't want you to do violence. I would rather the government be of the people, for the people, by the people. That would be nice. But it's not anymore. And it may never be again. I'm not sure. We'll find out next year. So if you're watching, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. Give me a sub. And then stick around for the next year as we watch the next election. Going over to the YouTube page, give me a follow, and I'll keep you up to date on the creeping fascism. What else is in the news today? Yeah, the creeping fascism. Here it is.
The midterms.
The midterms, yes. The midterms will be the first sign of what is to come. Over the midterms are going to be in 2026 at the end of the year, so it's a year away from now. So a summer from now, we will start to see people pushing for the midterm stuff. The midterms will be in November of 26. That's a long time from now. That's a year and a couple of months. But 1 year from now, in August of 26, we will see a lot of politics happening. The summer of 26 is going to be very political. There's going to be ads. There's going to be people running. There's going to be people telling you that they love Donald Trump and that you need to vote for them. There's going to be people telling you that they hate Donald Trump and you need to vote for them. There's going to be Democrats doing Democrat things. There's going to be leftists doing leftist things every now and then, and I'll point to them. There's going to be fascists lying to you. There's going to be grifters grifting. There's going to be people stealing money from you to give to other political parties. That kind of thing. All that shit. It's going to be very political summer. Next summer. Summer is already over. Today is the 30th of August, so summer's over. But next summer, going to be very political. And maybe by then I'll have a few more subs as well. I'm up to a whopping 322 subs on YouTube. That's a lot. That's my record. So it's very fun. It's very exciting. Going over to the YouTube page and click a button. Even if you're just saying hi.
YouTube.
The algorithm loves all the buttons. Just go to YouTube, press any button on any of my stuff, and it makes me stronger, makes me more powerful, and then pushes it out to other people.
Time to break out the champagne.
Yeah, 322. It's a record for me. They start paying you at 1,000, so I'm a third of the way there. Very exciting. The hell was I doing? Oh yeah. Politics. The troops are just walking around. Troops don't know why they're in D.C. This is why you shouldn't send them there. This half-assed takeover just has them standing around doing nothing. They don't know why they're there. They don't know what they're doing. National Guard soldiers were deployed to Washington, D.C. earlier this month, and since arriving, they haven't done much. Two reporters in the Atlantic found that even the soldiers have no idea what their mission is. Photos captured them standing around in extreme heat and humidity last week. They were seen grabbing ice cream from a food truck and guarding the Krispy Kreme. In the past few days, it seems to have evolved to Guard soldiers picking up trash and spreading mulch around the land and the landscaping of the city. Writing on Friday, Ashley Parker and Nancy Youssef described some of the answers that they got when asking soldiers why they're there and what their specific mission is. "We're the president's patrol, ma'am," said a small group of South Carolina Guard soldiers standing along the waterfront. Another group characterized their mission as just walking around. Third group, walking around the National Mall, told reporters that they were from West Virginia. When asked what they were doing, they confessed it was nothing more than smiling and waving. Is it a fascist takeover? Yes. Are the guardsmen involved? Kind of, but not really. The president tells them where to go, and then they go, and they stand around. What worries me, what is dangerous, is if they start standing around in front of polling places, chasing people off from doing actual democracy. I'm worried about that. I am actually worried, and this goes back to the 2026 midterm stuff, that ICE will go to there. They will find a person who looks Hispanic. They will try and arrest him and drag him.
Guardsmen are as involved as a hammer is in nailing things.
Absolutely. And what I'm worried about is the hand holding the hammer. You know, if the hand holding the hammer starts hitting people, then that's the hand's fault, not the hammer's fault. But they are also people. They're not a tool. The guardsmen aren't automatons who do what Donnie wants. They can say no, but because of the purge, because of all the military people that they've been removing from the military who might stand up to Donald, they might have removed everyone who could stand up to him. So maybe that's what I'm worried about. Donnie says to seize voting machines or seize votes.
Hollow gestures don't stand up to a stiff breeze. The longer this stuff goes on, the more obvious it must become to greater and greater swaths of the American populace that we are under oppressive rule.
No, actually, this, I would disagree with you. The people are going to say it's not a big deal. It's not a problem. You're being crazy for even calling it oppressive rule. They're just standing around. They're just smiling and waving. They're not doing any fascism. They're just standing around. Why are you freaked out? Seeing these people stand around. What's wrong with you, Malcidian? You're being a reactionary. You're being crazy. You're being exaggerative by saying that we're under oppressive rule. I see them getting ice cream. I see them doing landscaping work. And that is what the press is doing right now. That's what this article is reinforcing. Raw Story is usually a left-leaning article, a left-leaning site. But the reason that the news media is going to point to all this stuff, the left is telling you.
Okay, next logical question. Why are they there if they aren't needed?
Not a question the media is going to ask. That is, you're right. That's what Raw Story is going to ask. Raw Story is a left-leaning organization who's going to ask you why they are there. What are you doing there? What purpose is them being there? You're doing the leftist thing. The regular media is not going to get to this point. The regular media is not going to ask that. They might slightly. But if right-wing media is in charge, and they are, they will tell you that they're there to stop crime. Look at all the not crime happening. And they will point to these photos. The right-wing liars will point to this and tell you this is world peace. There is no crime happening here. This is America. This is gorgeous. This is beautiful. They love this. They love the idea of people standing in uniform buying sugar. This is conservatism. They love it. They like that shit. And they want more of it. And they want you to also go buy some ice cream. Now you can, because the troops are there to protect you. Regular right-wing media will do that. The regular right-wing media will tell you that it's not a big deal, it's not a problem, it's not oppressive rule, there's nothing wrong here, and Donald Trump solved all the crime. They'll ignore anything they can to make this happen, and then they will stop ignoring crime in the places where there are no troops. They'll ignore murders in D.C. and over-exaggerate murders in Chicago, because there aren't any troops in Chicago yet. There might be soon, but if they never get there, and they may never get there, they may get there, they may not. I'm not entirely sure whether or not they're going to get to Chicago. I hope they don't. I mean, it'll be fun to watch, and I'll watch it, and I'll stream it, and we'll have some content to look at. But what we don't want is Republican right-wing media reframing and the people believing it. The media is the problem most of the time. They tell you that, and they're all right-wing. There is very little left-wing media. Most of it is right-leaning. Most of it. Because they need to make money. Newspapers exist to make money. They don't exist to inform you anymore. That's gone. That's dead. That's old. That's 19th century shit. They exist to make money. Fox News exists to make money. And if they have to lie to you to get that money, they will. They don't care about what's true, what's right, what's newsworthy. If it makes money, they'll say it. OAN and Newsmax are exactly the same. They will say whatever gets them the money. I'm telling you my honest opinion. And if that makes some money, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. And I'm honest with you about that. These are my opinions. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. All politics are based on feelings. And I'm the only one who will tell you that. But they exist to make billions of dollars. And they can't do that by telling you things you don't want to hear. They can't. Reality tastes like shit. Bullshit is delicious. So they're going to feed you whatever delicious bullshit you want to hear to make you come back and watch more. I'm not doing that. I'm masochistic, and so are you, if you're watching, or cynical in some way, to recognize that reality tastes like shit. You know it. And you need the reality because it's more important than the taste in your mouth. I recognize that. I appreciate you. I'm glad you're here.
I feel attacked.
By calling you cynical. You know you are. Don't act like you're not a cynic. You know you are. This is the Cynical Podcast. This is the Cynical channel for cynical people.
Check out Waldo's videos. https://www.youtube.com/@waldospoliticalstream/videos.
Thank you, Interrupting Robot. We're going to segue because of the Interrupting Robot. Saved by the Interrupting Robot. The hell was I rambling about? Yeah, the right-wing media is going to tell you that it's great and it's fine. You're not under an oppressive rule. It's good that the troops are there. They're keeping the crime down. Don't you want fewer crimes in Chicago? Send the troops. Don't you want fewer crimes in New York? Send the troops. Don't you want fewer crimes in Shreveport, Louisiana? Send the troops. Don't you want fewer crimes in your tiny little podunk town in the middle of Nebraska? Send a troop. And it'll keep you safe, you see, because for the conservatives, for the Republicans, giving up your freedom is necessary for safety. That is their line. That is what they do now. Republicans want you to know that to be safe, you have to give up your freedom. Okay? That is what the Republicans are telling you. If you want to be safe, you must give up your freedom. Does that sound like a good deal? To them, it actually does. This actually sounds good to the conservative brain. Because freedom's overrated. Conservatives don't know what freedom is. They have recontextualized. They have redefined freedom. I say it all the time. Conservatives don't know what freedom is.
The collective trauma stemmed from 9/11.
Absolutely. 9/11. Very nice. You throwing fractions at me? We've already proven that I can't do math, and now you're throwing fractions at me. 9/11 broke a lot of people's brains. They gave up freedom for safety. And there is some merit to that. I don't want you, Shinsinto, to have the freedom to murder whoever you want. I don't think that's a good thing. So I will give up the freedom to murder whoever I want to create a society where murder is punished. That is a freedom we're losing, but it makes us safer. These are the complicated, difficult, academic arguments we ought to be having within the law schools, within the legal halls. We need to be determining what is too much of a loss of freedom and what is too much of a imposition. What is too secure and not enough freedom, and what is too much freedom, not enough security. This is a balancing act. But Republicans are on one side of that, and they only want the conformity. They only want the control. They only want the demand that you do exactly as they say, because they have determined what freedom is. They have redefined it. They have recontextualized it. And freedom is being a straight white man in the suburbs. Okay, that's freedom. That is what freedom is to a conservative. And they will fight to the death to preserve that idea. It's not true. It's not freedom. Freedom means you get to make your own choices. Freedom means you get to be what you want to be in a place that you would prefer to be, any way you like. They don't like that. That's not freedom. That's not freedom to them. Freedom with a trademark behind it. Conservative freedom. I guess maybe that's what we should call it. Conservative freedom. Conservative freedom is being a straight white man in the suburbs who works for 50 hours a week. That's freedom to them. That is what they want for you. That is what they demand of every American. That is what they demand of every human. Be a straight white man in the suburbs working 50 to 60 hours a week. I know it was 40 last week, but are you really putting in everything you have if you're only working 40 hours a week? We need to bump those. Those are rookie numbers. We got to bump those numbers up. And because they have brainwashed their straight white male constituency into saying that they are right about everything and everything that they are is good and right and whole and proper and correct. Everyone who isn't one of them is the enemy. Everyone who isn't a straight person is the enemy. That's why they hate the gays. Everyone who isn't a white person is the enemy. That's why they hate the immigrants. Everyone who isn't a man is the enemy.
You can't do that. 2 out of 3 is fine as long as you give up some rights.
Right. You got to give up some of your rights, You got to strive to become the conservative freedom. In the conservative brain, you need to be working all the time to become the straight white man in the suburbs. You should be working towards that. Okay? If you are gay, you need to fix it. Fix it. Stop doing that. Find a woman to marry. And if you are a woman, find a straight white man to marry so that you can be closer to conservative freedom, conservative perfection. If you are in a city, you should be striving to find a manufacturing job in Nebraska so that you can leave the city, leave that big city filled with crime and criminals and soon-to-be troops, so that you can become conservative perfect, conservative freedom. And that gotta support
our business daddies to the point of self-sacrifice. If I sacrifice enough, maybe someday I can be a gaslighting business daddy, too. The American dream.
Exactly. That's the Republican American dream. Be a straight white man in the suburbs. The more of them there are, the more power the business daddies have. The more power, the more profit.
Business * damn. I can't spell.
Business is a tough
/
word. I recognize it. I goof up on fractions. So the more of these conservative people there are, the more money these businesses make, the more money and power and rights the conservatives have. And then they get to make more of them. And then they get to spread. And then they get to empty out the cities. And they get to force everybody to go live in those suburbs. And they get to more power, more power, more power. They get more authority. They get more power. They get more money to do the things that they want, which is to be filthy rich and own an island where they abuse children. That's what they want. They all want to be Jeffrey Epstein. They really do. All the business daddies you've ever seen on TV strive to be Jeffrey Epstein. They all want it. Donnie wants to be Jeffrey Epstein. He always has, and he always will try to be that. That is conservatism because it is a pyramid. It's always been a pyramid. Conservatives even call it a pyramid. They call it a food chain. They call it a pyramid with the sharks on top, and then the bigger fish, and then the medium fish, and then the small fish, and then the immigrants at the bottom. When you look at conservatism, they build hierarchies. They build a pyramid. And as long as everyone is where they belong in that pyramid, they're happy. They're complacent. They think they feel good when they see the immigrants at the bottom, and even themselves at one step above the bottom. This is where your white trash lives. This is where your working poor in Appalachia lives. This is where your hardworking trucker from the South lives, is one step above the immigrants, and they are happy with that.
So the foundation of conservatism is power fantasy.
Well, maybe. I wouldn't call it fantasy. This is actual power. This isn't a fantasy. It isn't fantasy. If the immigrants make up the bottom of the pyramid and you are one step above them, you are still one step above them. Everything is as it's supposed to be. You are more powerful than those immigrants. This is power reality. Power itself doesn't exist. Power is a thought process. So, is it fantasy? Maybe. It's a feeling. Power is a feeling. Are feelings fantasy? No, they're real. They exist.
Meant in the same way as
power tripping. Yeah. Fantasizing about power. Yes, fantasizing about the power. Absolutely correct. The bottom rung, we don't care what they think. One step up, we make them feel better than the person below them. One step up from that, you got your business managers, your petty tyrants. They work for a living. They work for slightly more money than the working poor. As long as all that is in place, everybody in this conservative mindset is happy. I'm the manager. I'm above this person, and this person is above the immigrants. I'm happy because I have a conservative brain. Then above them is the petite bourgeois. Don't call them that, or else you'll chase off the normies. The manager class, the people who own small businesses. How often have you heard conservatives talk about the small business owners being the absolute bedrock, the backbone of our economy? It's a lie. They just want them to be on their team. They just want them to keep voting for conservatives because they own a small business. They run things. They pay taxes. They hire the middle managers, and they employ the bottom of the hierarchy.
Petite bourgeois is hysterical.
Petite bourgeois, it's an actual Marxist term. It's just that you're not supposed to. I don't use the terms. Am I a Marxist? Yes. Do I speak to people at the bus stop about the petite bourgeois and the proletariat? No. It chases people off.
Amazing.
It makes people freaked out. So you call them the business class, the business owners, these small business owners.
Odd how the conservative mindset results in both a trickle-down economy and shit running downhill.
Yeah. The bullshit runs downhill to all the people, and you keep all these people in line with your media apparatus, who are the next step above the petite bourgeois, above the business class. You've got your entertainers, your Fox News telling the people what to do. They make more money than the middle manager. They make more money than the owners. They make more money than the middle managers. They make more money than all the people below them. And they tell you to stay in line. And if anybody gets out of line, if one of those immigrants says, hey, I'd like to be a doctor, you slap that shit down. You hit them hard on Fox News. You cannot be a doctor. You're an immigrant. Okay? You're at the bottom. You're stealing a job from a hardworking American. You're taking the seat of what could be an American child in medical school. If you go to school, you immigrant, you dirty, filthy monster, you stay down where you belong. And if a black guy runs for president, really upsets them because he's upsetting the hierarchy. He belongs in the working class or below. Half black people, like Obama, do not belong at law school in their brains. He's jacking up the perfect hierarchy. That's why it upset them so much. Women don't belong as president, according to them, according to their brains, because they can't. That's why. And then what do? They say he played the race card. So he's not actually worthy. He doesn't have the merits to be president. He just played the race card. That's why he got to be president.
Zero irony with a U.S. American telling immigrants they don't belong.
Yes, it is, but they don't know that. They haven't been educated on that. They don't know any of these things. They're kept in the dark by the media class. And then your woman plays she slept her way to the top. That's how she got her all into college. She probably slept with the admissions officer. And then once she got there, she slept with all the professors and they gave her A's. So that's why she's above you. Not because she's smarter, not because she earned it. No. You are exactly where you belong, and the people who are above you cheated to get there if they don't belong there.
Glass ceiling. Sounds woke.
Exactly. So then above them are your officials and your politicians and stuff like that, and then your big fish above that, who are the business owners. Your Jeff Zuckerbergs. What's his name? Your Zuckerbergs. Your Jeff Bezos's. Your Elon's. They are the big fish. They're the very important people. They're the international traders who make the world economy work. So they belong up in that stratus, and then above that is the president. That is the hierarchy that conservatives want to build for you and want to force you into. If you don't want to fit into one of those boxes, you're a degenerate, you're a derelict, you're an anarchist. You're breaking their perfect system. You're harming them. If you are suggesting that conservatives or that immigrants should get rights, you're breaking the system. If you're suggesting that people on the bottom can move to the top, you're breaking the system. You're hurting them. You're harming them. What you see is last night someone tried to tell me that Kamala's housing policy was shot. I proceeded to tell them that it sounded racist and sexist, and I got kicked. Yeah, exactly. Kamala is doing neoliberal stuff. She wasn't doing anything leftist even. Her policy was probably just tax cuts for certain people in certain brackets who have children, and you get a tax rebate if you're a first-time homeowner. The neoliberals don't have really good, solid ideas. Leftists have good ideas, but that leftist idea is usually bad for business, which means Kamala probably wouldn't push for it. But if you're talking to right-wing people, she's a goddamn communist. They don't know what a communist is. They've never seen one. They don't know who Marx is. They just know he's the devil, and Kamala is the devil. Kamala never used the term petite bourgeois. She never would. But
Musk
she gets
has
called
done
a communist.
Masterclass job of dodging the country's ire these past couple months. And all he had to do was get the fuck out of our government.
Right, because he got what he wanted. He stole your information. Elon Musk has your social security number now. He has your information. He has your data. He has my data because he took it from the government, because that was what he was there to do. Rob the government. Steal from this big old government entity with lies and bullshit so that he can profit and he can turn that information into more government contracts, more money, more stock value for his companies. That's why he did it. And he left, and now he's getting shit on, and he's still doing his normal thing, which is convince investors to buy his stocks and lift up his companies, but he's not in the government anymore, and the Doge was a mistake, and the Doge is a bunch of horseshit. I have been ranting for a very long time. What the hell is going on? Okay. Next, let me close some of these tabs. Tabs. So many tabs. Get out of here, tabs.
He's completely out of the public perspective ATM.
Yeah, he is at the moment. Now, this next story, what are we talking about? Get out of here. Wrong button. There we go. All right. There is an actual solution to a few of these problems. I'm about to read it to you, and it is a goddamn nightmare. You're not going to like it. I'm not going to like it. Nobody's going to like it. Everybody's going to have a bad time. I'm letting you know. You're about to have a bad time. But it might actually be the solution. It might actually be.
1 = 3. What does it relate to? First correct answer wins Pikachu.
Zoyer, thanks for coming in. I'm about to tell you the solution for actual, that might actually solve our problems. One radical step will horrify most, but it can end our national nightmare. This is from Tom Hartman, a very solid leftist. He runs you've probably heard him on the radio if you've ever listened to AM radio. Tom Hartman, very cool guy. But here it is, some solutions that will actually change our country. Will the media do it? Will anybody do the thing that he's suggesting? No, they won't. But let's hear what it is that's horrifying. Thursday was the 70th anniversary of the brutal murder of Emmett Till. This week also brought us another mass school shooting, this time in Minneapolis with 2 children dead and 17 people in the hospital. There are lessons we must learn from both, and I'll lay that out in a moment. Immediately following the Minneapolis shooting, another pathetic Republican congressman claimed that the slaughter wasn't facilitated by guns, but by mental illness, including radical gender ideology. A community is grieving. School kids across America are terrified. And after 339 mass shootings since the start of this year, you'd think that the average Americans would finally understand that the horrors of this gun violence have been intentionally inflicted on us by Republicans in Congress and the Supreme Court in exchange for cash from the NRA and Russia. This phenomenon is systemic and unique to the United States today as Jim Crow was in the 1950s. The gun control movement needs to learn from the civil rights movement. Back in 1955, young black people like 14-year-old Emmett Till were routinely murdered by white people all over America, usually with no consequence whatsoever. Emmett Till was kidnapped by 2 Mississippi white men on August 28, 1955, brutally tortured, murdered, and his mangled body thrown into the Tallahatchie River. And the white men who did it and the white woman who set it off with a lie never suffered any meaningful consequences. His mother, Mamie Bradley, made the extraordinarily brave decision to show her child's mutilated face with an open coffin funeral in their hometown in Chicago. Jet Magazine ran a picture you can see here of Emmett, which went viral in the day, invigorating the civil rights movement as it horrified the nation. As President Biden said 2 years ago, honoring the release of this movie, Till, the picture made real the horrors of white violence against black people in America for those who are unfamiliar or just unwilling to confront it. We have all heard about the Newtown, Stoneman Douglas, and Las Vegas, but have you ever seen a picture of the bodies mutilated by the .223 caliber bullets, the semi-automatic assault weapons like the AR-15 fire? The odds are pretty close to zero. Nobody sees these things. Most Americans have no idea the kind of damage such weapons of war can do to people, particularly children. But we need to learn, because pictures really work when it comes to changing public opinion. In the 1980s, egged on by the bipartisans in the Reagan administration, and American anti-abortion movement began to practice of holding up graphic, bloody pictures of aborted fetuses as part of their demonstration vigils. Their literature and magazines, and even some of their advertisements, still often carry or allude to these graphic images. Those in the movement will tell you that the decision in the 1990s to use these kinds of pictures was a turning point when abortion became real for many Americans, and even advocates for a woman's right to choose an abortion started using phrases like legal, safe, and rare. Similarly, when Pulitzer Prize-winning photo of a 9-year-old Napalm girl, I don't know her name, but it really is PHUC. Don't cancel me. Running naked down the rural Vietnamese road after napalm caught her clothes on fire was published in 1972. It finally helped turn the tide on the Vietnam War. You've seen this photo. It's very famous. It's a very famous photo of a 9-year-old who's been burned by napalm, screaming and crying. You've seen it, and it helped turn people's idea against the war. The photos need to be seen. We need the media to show it to people. And this is disgusting and it is awful, but it is the only thing that will work. Media showed Emmett Till's distorted, destroyed, and broken dead face. And that made the people upset. And then they changed society for the better. The media showed the napalm girl, and it made people upset. And we changed society for the better. The media showed you what was happening in Vietnam. Vietnam was one of the very first televised wars that you could see on television, and it made people upset, and they changed society for the better. We need to see pictures of the gun violence that's happening today. We need it. The media needs to show it to you so that the American people can become upset and then change society for the better. But they won't. And they're not going to. The media now does not exist for the reason that it used to. It exists only to make money, to make the investors profit, to make investor profit. That is why the media exists today. That is why they do the things that they do. That is why they tell you the things that they tell you. That is why they cover the stories that they cover. To make investors profit. Investors are the parasite class. Investors are the problem that we have with America, and we can never solve any of our issues until we take the power away from the investors. They are the problem. They are the ones demanding more celebrity gossip instead of actual news. They are the ones demanding higher returns on the news media. News didn't used to be a profit-generating enterprise till the late 70s, early 80s, when news on TV went from informing the public to turning dollars. And because of that, now it is a money-making scheme, and they have investors, and they have all these people who demand their money go up. And as I've said a couple of times already today, reality tastes like shit. If a news organization, if a news media, if TV news gave you reality, it would taste like shit. It would be what Tom Hartman here is describing. Children torn to bits by bullets. And it would make you feel bad. And then they wouldn't make money. The investors would not get their bottom line. The investors would not get their return on their investment. So it doesn't happen. Investors are why your products suck. It's why you have to have a new iPhone every couple of years. We could create a phone that exists for a very long time, that lasts incredibly long. But then you wouldn't need to buy another one. And if you don't need to buy another one, how are the investors going to make more money next year than they made last year? They're not. They're in charge. We could make cars that are smaller, more efficient, and better for you. But we're not doing that, are we? We're making bigger cars this year. We're making bigger cars next year. The cars must get bigger. They must get larger. They must be monstrous. And they must not fit within the lanes. They must have a bigger grill guard. They must have a shorter bed for carrying things so that you can make more trips. Even the trucks today don't have beds the way they used to. They have very short little beds. The cab gets longer and longer so you can fit more people in it. But the bed gets shorter and shorter. And they get rid of things like the Ford Ranger, the Ford F-150, and they change these things so that you can't carry stuff anymore. Investors wanted that. You didn't want that. You didn't ask for that. You don't want any of this, but the investors demand it. And so that is what is done. The investors run this country, and nobody else is telling you that. Nobody else is telling you that. Because they are also investors. The guy on CNBC has a very complicated and diversified investment portfolio. And the guy on the every economist is in the economy. They're all a part of it. Even the good ones like Paul Krugman, he has stocks and he needs them to go up. All the economists have stocks and they all need them to go up. So they can't be trusted. They are all investors. All of the people who are running this country are investors, and they don't give a damn about you. They want you to be a little slot piggy. They want you to be a little pay pig. They want you to pay them and shut the fuck up. If they could have you pay them for nothing, they would. And so they try. So they grift. They sell you bitcoins. They sell you monkey JPEGs. They sell you pictures of, they sell you OnlyFans models, which they're doing the work, but then the people make the money. It's a whole thing. It's a little bit more honest, but it's still dishonest at the same time. They need you to produce for them and then give them all the money so that they can make more money. And they will bend the laws. They will pay all the politicians. And the Dems all work for investors. The Dems are investors. Nancy Pelosi has shitloads of stock. And she needs them to go up. And if that means lying to you, I think she'll do it. Investors are the problem with America. And I'm the only person telling you that. And that's why I think you should stick around and then say hi and come in a chat and tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. I think it's important. Crypto, the new cash for prostitution. Yeah, it is. You're right. It is the thing that they're using. I think that's about it for me today. I appreciate everybody who's here. I've kind of told you everything I could and everything that I'm thinking. If you're in chat, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. What you see is thanks for being here, Malcidian, Valor. Keep railing against the investors. Keep watching. Keep paying attention to the news. Keep showing up and paying attention to what's going on in the world, and you'll be better off than most people. Most people aren't paying attention to this shit. Most people aren't noticing any of the things that are going on. And they're just watching the Masked Singer and football, and then they go to bed. And that's fine if that's the way you want to live your life. But you're all here because you're cynical and you know something's wrong. That's why you're here. That's why you're searching for truth. It's because you recognize something's going wrong. And am I completely correct about everything? No, of course not. But I do think that I've got a perspective that nobody else has. And that's why I'm trying to share it with you. If you like it, share it with somebody else. Tell somebody at work, go watch the Waldo stream. He's saying things that nobody else is saying. Is he wrong? Maybe. But is he right? Also maybe. That is it for me today. It is Saturday, so I will be back on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, PST West Coast time. If anything important pops off, like the president dying, let me talk about that for a minute. Did the president die over the weekend? No. Did, for about 4 or 5 hours, the internet go crazy thinking he was dead? Yes. Did I miss all of that? Yes, because I was playing Path of Exile. And you should do that too. When something silly happens, something wild, there was social media actually was popping off last night about the fact that maybe Donald Trump was dead. I didn't see any of it because I was playing a video game. That could be you too. That's the way most humans interact with the world. Most people don't know what he does on a normal day. Most people don't pay attention to the crypto scams. Most people don't know that crypto is the new cash for prostitution. Most normies don't know that. But we're better than the normies because we're more educated. What's the point I was trying to get at? Yeah, keep paying attention and don't go with all the fads. Watch the fad. When the viral video pops up, be like, is this real? Is this correct? What do I think about it? Analyze the things. That's what I'm saying. Analyze more and believe less. It's the Waldo message. Okay. That's it for me today. I am all done rambling and ranting today. Can any of this be turned into YouTube videos? I don't have any idea. That's a problem for Editor Waldo tomorrow, not for Streamer Waldo today. So thanks for being here. I am all done. I will be back on Wednesday unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me off to the gulag. So goodbye. I love you. Bye.